is that? That's the chief.
You know, it's really kind of crazy. They told us we wouldn't get here, we wouldn't make it, we wouldn't do everything we knew we were supposed to do. Shit. Watch what I do. I heard good things come to those who wait for it. Bro told me fuck that wait and shit, go take yours. Pops told me I should.
Hey, how we doing, you guys? Certainly hope you're doing well. Sending you all much love and high vibrations out to wherever it is you are on this TGIF. Thank God it's Friday. Payday. Let's go. And here we are, sitting at that 73, right above that $72,000 range. We haven't hit on it much. We had a decode. On it not too long ago. I don't know if it was here or something I just shared in the Discord. Tied to that 72 Bitcoin connection. Might have just been in the Discord. But either way, we were looking at this range, 71,100, 71,700, potentially getting hit. Obviously, here we are. Not surprising, but the whole world, you looking at. Yeah, I mean, that just seems to be what the internet's going with. May Day, Memorial Day. We've spoken about this. Not surprising, to be quite frank, as we head into that June bug, that carcinogenic cancer moment in the charts that we could potentially see as we head into America's 250th birthday. You know, we talked about this. Are we getting those extreme highs? Are we getting those extreme lows as we head into this time period? You know, so when we look at things like this and we look at the charts that we've been examining, not surprising. Bull flag, energy, Memorial Day, May Day, those M patterns that came in miraculously right there at the beginning of May Day, you know, May 6th, Cinco de Mayo, you know, that celebration day, right? And then we hit that top, that double pattern, this rising wedge. If you want to, you know, follow it like this, right? And like this, you got this long rising wedge, right? So very important to pay attention to. You're breaking down 68% chance mathematically, but you have that M pattern in May. Okay, Mercurialia, Mother's Day, May Day, right? Memorial Day. All these M's that we see in May, but where did that lead into? Right there around that May 10th. So double tops within the same week. You can't break 83K. We talked about this specifically, tied to me, tied to my younger brother, right? I spoke about selling May so many times this month, you probably thought it was Chat GPT coming at you. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. You know, we talked about that 79K range. I know specifically about, you know, staying golden, right? And take your profits and run, right? So 79 to 83K, getting our money off the table, accumulating again. Beautiful, beautiful. We still got CME gaps of 67, 69K-ish below us, right? Right there above that $66,600 range that we've worked so hard to come out of. So if we were accumulating such a esoteric and just excruciating low, we got to remember to take profits, right? But anyway, that bull flag thesis coming out of Memorial Day is we end May within the next 72 hours with a blood moon. I said a blood moon, I'm sorry, but the blue moon. Like, let us pray. The blood in the charts. But that once in a blue moon saying, what do we get right here? We have to ask ourselves, does some of our hard work, does it get rewarded? Because you can look at Fetch AI, or you can look at Stellar Lumens right now, and just off an announcement with the DTCC, no concrete proof, no nothing, just an announcement, just rumor, up 66%. As if we ain't already drawn this out for you over a long span of several years. This chart specifically, this long W pattern, breaking back up into, this top, inception of 2018, right? But anyways, this golden pocket that we got rejected from, but we had this long W come back, right, drawn out, and this fallen wedge, and look at this, almost perfect, this fallen wedge that it played out to, touching 14 cents again, and then bam. So if we were to draw this drawing up, or move it, we can potentially see it head back to around that $1.50 and then come back down in a long, drawn out fallen wedge, like we were saying. Now this fallen wedge is finally done with. So what do we see from here? 1618, $1.34. Who knows? So anyways, but just a rumor. And here we go. Like I said, other cryptos going ham. XRP starting to look really good, coming out of that 314 days since the high, right? 112 days now that we've been trading since that $1.12 range. So starting to come out of that low potentially, if we can break that 137 again. Can we get a 66.6% move to 216, the 6 cube, 6 times 6 times 6, right? Kind of what I'm seeing. What we've been expecting and talking about for a while now. So I think cryptos are starting to finally, slowly but surely, see a little bit of life. Like I said, Fetch AI, XLM, and a few others. Somebody give me some that, I haven't named if they're going off, right? I heard Zcash was doing good again. So things like that. But is Bitcoin gonna follow? Is it gonna do what the Dow Jones is doing? What the S&P 500 continues to do? Dow Jones finally hitting a new all-time high, like we've been mapping out, the fifth wave god, right? But anyways, the S&P 500, Bitcoin, is it going to continue in that large, grandiose fifth wave that we've been talking about, breaking 126, seeing that 128K, that Independence Day rally, right? That's what that 120K, 28K is for anybody new. It's what I consider the Independence Day rally. As we approach Independence Day for over a year now, as we teach about this year's, Independence Day being the 250th Independence. Um, Independence Day giving us that 128. So a little bit of clarity for that. If you hear that coming up as we start to transition through June and into July, America's birthday, you see that Independence Day on 7/4 this year and every other year. You see why it's held on July 4th, and now you can see why I talk about that 128K that we were talking about being a sell wall last year. And well, we hit 126K tied to Bitcoin price discovery, and well, that's where we fell from. So again, just more clarity, and again, that's 74 right there. So hopefully coming back full circle right here. So I see some of you see the decode that we've been sharing as we got home today. So we'll bring that over real quick. I already had it pulled up on the screen right there. So we'll talk about it. Claude, our buddy Mr. Percy, has passed away, right? He played hockey. Okay, he was a Canadian, right? But he died 1 month and 19 days before his next birthday. Okay, he died at 60 years old, right? And we're coming out of those 60K lows, okay? All right, we're under the president that won the 60th presidential elections to become the 47th president, okay? Crazy, pay attention. So, Donald tied to Blue Origin yesterday in the blowing up of the spaceship that we saw, right? Tied to Blue Origin, Donald, that was the pay attention code. Then we get this death as the world wakes up this morning. This man dies yesterday, but we get it this morning. Why? Because today leaves 216 days left in the year, and his name gives us 216, which is 6 times 6 times 6, mathematically the 6 cubed, that 666 code, right? And again, today's 303 months and 14 days away from 9/11. And it's also 3 months and 14 days from 216. So today, the news breaking of this being just a geosymmetrical date between, well, the 216 day of this year, the 47th day of this year. Wow. Tied to Donald, right? And again, geosymmetrically being the center point between then and 9/11. But today being the 149th day of the year, leaving 216 days left in the year, tied to Skull and Bones and this man that they tell us passed away. He was a right winger in the position of hockey, like Donald Trump, a conservative right winger. Okay, so pay attention to that. Just very unique, very powerful what we're witnessing right here. This code. Shout out to Dark Elf, a server booster here at the Daily Kennel Closed News Pioneer Academy, for sharing and, speaking about this decode some. I just started it, like I said, as I got home from work, so I haven't got to put a slide together or nothing. I'll work on that. And I haven't got to look into Blue Origin any more than what you see on the screen. But I shared the videos of the explosion that we saw take place yesterday. Okay, again, in a horse year, a fire horse year, as we are in Beltane and ending Beltane, we see these rituals. Okay, so not surprising. Go back and look at some of our Beltane work in the past. Type in Beltane, Beltane, in the search bar in the Discord, and just read what pops up. Okay, so don't forget to do these things with the things that we teach about if you're new here and you haven't been here for years, to watch these videos or read these posts, etc., etc. All right, so take a look at the. All right, got some people viewing, making cocktails and shit. I love it. I love it. This is what we do. So back to it. Wyckoff accumulation. We've been following it as we, entered this springtime period, as we entered cherry blossom season, the true new year, spring, things like that, March, right? Not surprising, right? But again, just following this to see if we're completing that test, or if we're about to lose these lower ranges, or does 72,000 hold? Does 71,700, 71,100, what we're holding now, hold, or do we push a little lower, grab that liquidity, close these lower 2-hour CME gaps, things like that? Let's see what happens. Mayday, Mayday, June, bug, carcinogenic cancer moment in the charts, right? Again, let's pay attention, okay? And not act confused. All right, we're ready for it, right? We sold in May, we walked away, we're ready for it if it were to happen. All right, if it were to continue into June and July highs as we head into America's 250th, we're prepared for that too, right? Okay, so still really in a hurry up and wait situation, but I think again we have our spring as we are in phase C, right? And then we have a test. You can even consider it 2 tests, or the last test before we enter phase D, and we have that reach into continuation, a higher high, right? Breaking previous structure highs of 78,000, 79,000, right? And then we get a pullback, that last point of supply before continuation again into an SOS. So could this be that last LPS coming out of our test into phase D before we enter phase E and new all-time highs? So let's pay attention to this, okay? Nothing that we haven't been following, right? It's just how are we looking at it? What chart are we looking at? Because again, we've talked about that accumulation distribution, that May Day, Memorial Day sale, okay? That Mercurialia time period that we were paying attention to mid-month before I went on vacation, right? And that's when I really started honing in on that Memorial Day sale and posting about it and things like that, okay? Because this is nothing new under the sun. We've been here, we've done this, okay? So now where do we go from here? All right, do we continue to hold structure, or do we push back down into 60, 66, 69K? Again, bull flag thesis. So this is a chart I haven't talked about in a while. It's a CME futures chart, but again, it holds a lot of relevance to last year's work, where we were speaking about de-risking, things like that, what we were watching around that December time period, but more importantly, December, right back here, okay? But more importantly, that May time period of last year, where we were really hunting those exits as we knew we were getting ready to leave our fib circle, our fib channel, these inflection points, and trading time, okay? So just wanted to bring it up for a quick second tonight. Some of these charts get lost, but everybody's quick to say, oh, delete your work, start fresh. No, never delete your receipts. You know what I'm saying? They're your receipts. You know what I'm saying? As we move into a digital age, you just want to remember your history. They're so quick to burn books in this world, and they're so quick to tear down statues, and well, don't delete your history either, okay? And that's something I'm big on here. So we looked at that. We'll delete that. Crypto's Andy Warhol still just right in that 2.618 fib circle as we transition through it. Again, these are trading time when we look at charts like this. And so coming out of that Mayday, getting rejected from, so we're right in the 2.618 fib circle. And would you know, we got rejected from the 2.618 fib channel in May with that M pattern that we were talking about. Now, we did not hold 76,000, 74,000. And then we were, again, that one class that we were talking about and making them decodes connected to 72 Bitcoin. It was a short little few minutes, but we knew that it was a range, that 72K. Again, it's tied to money, it's tied to Bitcoin. So not surprising, right? 72. And money, 72. Oh. But ooh, you gotta have the M on. It doesn't matter where it's at. It can be at the end. It can be misspelled, as long as the same alphabetical letters are in there. You're gonna get the same numerical value. And again, the gentleman that just passed away gives us that same 72 as well. So again, his death hitting the 72K, this 216 code, that 666 code, right? It just seems to be all numerically lining up, right? It always does. Imagine that. But what I'm saying is, right in that 2.618 circle after getting rejected from that 2.618 fib. It's not uncommon to see us do this when we transition through a fib circle, specifically. Like when we hit our lows at this fib channel down here, we grinded the outside of this 0.1 fib circle, right? We held it until, well, we lost it, and then boom. Just like up here. Look at how we transitioned into this 4.236 fib circle. We grinded down until we, boom, ran into the 4.618, and then we grinded down. Okay, nothing new under the sun. When you play with these, you'll see how you tend to trade with the time. All right, and so I expect to come out of this, even if we do maybe hit this 67 2-hour CME gap range at this lower, dang it, I can't see it, 3.618. Then we'll see what happens. But I like what I'm seeing. I expect to potentially reach that 91.1 very soon. That's what I'm keeping an eye out for, is that 88K, 86K, right up here, this next inflection point, 83K. That's our 322 EMA. So we're gonna pay attention to potentially meeting that, okay? As it meets this, okay? The Trinity. That's what I'll call it. Alright, so let's pay attention to that. Alright, see if we can't meet that by and around that transition into Cancer. Coming out of potentially any D-Day, Death Day, Junebug lows that we could potentially see throughout the first to the third week of June. Okay, I'm just throwing that out there. But with June, you know, we got to remember, right there at the end of May, we're coming out of May. Mayday. So again, sell in May, walk away. Everything historically tied to the markets. But June is that D-Day, Death Day, Normandy landings anniversary that we talk about here, that we associate with the charts as we head into Armed Forces Day. But not just any Armed Forces Day. We're getting the death of a Canadian hockey player, and well, the 7th of June is Canadian Armed Forces Day. So I'm going to be paying attention to that 6th, 7th time period of June into the 14th, Trump's birthday, Patriot Day, Flag Day, very closely. Okay, but then Father's Day on the 21st, that 22nd microstructure reset, recycle into June. You know what I'm saying? That is when summer begins and the summer solstice takes place. So we're out of that spring energy, and then we're into that summer chaotic nonsense. Heat. Okay, the heat is going to start to heat up in the world. You know, the closer you are to the equator especially. But what I'm saying is temperatures are going to rise. Okay, what do the charts do? Do they heat up? Do we start to see the rise in the charts that we specifically see around summertime as the temperatures rise? Okay, so very specifically, again, well methodically thought out, and still at times just brushing over the code of this thesis, you guys, and I really hope you're enjoying it. Philly D15, leading up to the 250th, things look positive. Maybe a little something on 6/11, start of the World Cup. Yeah, for sure. That's right there. Like I said, that's right there heading into the NBA Finals. My sister's birthday, June 12th, disclosure day. So right after D-Day, right? So you got a lot going on, and that's not even touching on any of the astrology for next month yet. Like, we still haven't even released none of that yet. We're just talking about things that we've talked about in the past with our thesis, or specifically coming up this year, like Patriot Day on Trump's birthday. It's known as Flag Day or Trump's birthday, but now will be called Patriot Day as well. Things like that. So, but yeah, Mercury retrograde. Yeah. So now, talking about some of the astrology, we'll obviously be keeping an eye on that as well, for sure. All right, on to the next one. It's an old one too. My sister get anything she want, I said been a while. We done came a long way from Terra High. They didn't see me wear the same clothes. I'm like, look at me now. No band wanna grow, he wanna stop just cause it's child. If you don't never reach the hype, no true and BB that I got. I thank God for this growth, I come from that nigga have what I got. I ain't tripping now as long as I can take care of mines and I'll I'll be paying attention to that weekly 21. In case we were to go to that weekly 322 EMA that we haven't seen since March of 2023 in the Silicon Valley Bank collapse. 56K specifically. We'll just weekly pay attention to that. Okay, this is our main chart. We haven't talked about this tonight. More fibs on fibs on fibs, fibs channels, things like that. But this is our golden 702 pocket right here. Previous resistance or tops in past cycles going all the way back to, I think, the 2018. Support throughout 2021, that cycle, things like that as well. But seeing again, this is accumulation right here. Sound waves of accumulation and distribution as we potentially grind up and back into 107, 106, 88, 86K, things like that. So again, just definitely watching this 74K range and seeing if we can't reclaim 74K as we head into 7/4 Independence Day. Definitely wanting this to be a sort of left shoulder, head, right shoulder kind of vibe that could take us out of here. So if I were to draw that, it would look something like this, left shoulder, head, right shoulder vibe, and you'll get your V-shaped recovery, out of that. So very unique. If we were to see that, that's what we want to see. Trading charts like this, that's typically what you would tend to see coming out of something like this. Again, you're trading charts that are designed to trade sideways and up throughout time. And again, charts like this that we're examining, I've designed to trade time. So, and I've hit on that 1,000 times tonight, but I want to make sure you're getting it right, because when we look at this also, that left shoulder head, right shoulder move could just be an even smaller play of the larger move that we're watching right here. Left shoulder head, and then we get up here and right shoulder up out of it as well. And this is just nothing but a long falling wedge that people are freaking out about. 68% chance mathematically of a breakout to the upside. But, you know, I'm new here. It's my first day. So, but yeah. All right. Any questions? CME chart. This is that 2-hour gap that I was talking about. One right here at that 69.60K. 69.70K. Sorry. 67 as well. So looking to see if maybe they want to give us another fifth wave down. So if we wanted to look at this in Elliott wave corrective pattern theory, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So how much more do we correct, right? If we were to get another fifth inside of the fifth wave to the downside, it's just a massive ABC correction we're seeing, right? Again, Mayday. But it's actually, I mean, you've got a fifth of a fifth wave down, so I mean, you could even start correcting up now. So your first one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then now you can go 1, 2. I guess it's right here, because it gaps right here as well. So we got a gap to the upside now right here at 74K. So we'll pay attention to this, see if this ABC is done, okay? Because we knew the fifth wave. We were hopeful for 86, 90 something K. But we kept specifically speaking about 83 to 90K. I'm sorry, 83 to 86K. 83 to 86K throughout the entire month of May. Again, 83 in my name, 83 in my younger brother's name. We specifically made sure to note that. CME gap closure of 83K. I don't know how many times we said it in classes, right? 83 to 86, murder code, right? 86 or 83, tied to murder. We're seeing murder from the charts right now. We knew 79 was golden, right? So, just looking at this, is it over? Where'd we retest at? Well, the golden pocket. Rejection at murder. 83K closing the CME gap. I don't know if we're going to close these two. You know, now we've got one at 74. Who knows where we're going, but where are we at? Take it back to the basics. We just retested the 702 golden pocket. Well, we failed to get to the golden ratio. And again, when we pull fibs, we know we're either going to go high or low, or trade sideways and boring. Okay, 3 places we can go. Okay, so when we pay attention to the basics, when we pull the fib, we failed to get to the golden ratio. So where did we typically come back to? The golden pocket, where we just tested. Okay, so let's see what happens now. Let's pull this over. we'll just hit settings and extend it right. Extend right. And see, boom, perfect retest and setting it at the 786 right now with trader's range. So nice head and shoulders forming, so we could drop lower. We'll have to see what happens, but as of right now, I'm looking to see if we don't bounce from this golden pocket back up to around that 84 or 83k range, that golden ratio, to see if we can't. Well, we've been liquidating shorts, we've been liquidating longs left and right. If you look on Twitter, you know what I'm saying? It's a cat and mouse game right now, and well, it's mayhem in May, you know, and so nothing new. Where does June take us? That's what we're interested in now. That June bug, that carcinogenic moment. Those June and July lows or June and July highs? Which one do we get this year? And again, if you watch the videos we've talked about in the past, it can be both. Very volatile, explosive highs in June and July that dramatically sell right back off. That needle top, right? That sell in May, walk away energy that's rolling over like minutes back in the day on old cell phones, right? I'll behave. Some of y'all may still be too young. But these things will be in museums one day. You can read about them, I promise. But anyways, Plato's Bro says, hey coach, apologies if you addressed this earlier, but is what's happening with XLM a signal for XRP and the X tokens? Potentially for the X tokens. I don't know. We can look at XCN right now because you're a big supporter of mine and you always like for me to look at XCN when you ask about, crypto. So it's a X token. It's potentially what could happen. I mean, we've been mapping out just like XLM, this fallen wedge for almost 2 years now, Plato's Bro. And I know you're probably getting tired of hearing me talk about it, but when it pops, you'll love me long time. Okay? But I remember back in 2025, we were talking about this, So now here we are almost 500 days later and potentially seeing an XLM move in the cards for XCN that could potentially go up to 0.2 cents again. We've been there before. Why not go higher? But that's a 330% move. XLM's only done 60% right now. But if we were to break this previous high and hit, anywhere in this previous range, we're looking at potentially another 1,000% move, anywhere from 100 to 1,000% move for XCN. Okay, so again, XRP, if we were to see something like this, then yeah, I think it goes to show right here that that's exactly what we're about to see. Like any time now, right? Is potentially a 66% move back up to $2.16. $2.16 is the mathematical 6 cube, which is 6 times 6 times 6, that mark of the beast 666 code. Alright, so XLM just had a 61% increase. I think XRP is about to have a 66% increase, okay, from this $1.37 range, okay, 314 days after the high that we just had, 112 days after hitting $1.12. I think we're about to go right back up to $2.16, just like XLM. So yeah, I hit on it earlier, but same thing in a nutshell. I just said right there. I think it's a big indicator for what's to happen. Again, people keep talking about Zcash, and it's going off again. You gotta love cats, man. Climbing on stuff they ain't supposed to. Nothing's broken, but I mean, it's knocked over. I love cats, man. But Zcash, what is it doing? It's back up in the top, right? It's getting energy. But now I'm not saying stacking the Zcash as much as I'm bullish on some of these other coins, because we've talked about this. Right now, this is a lower high forming right now, kind of like that M pattern in May. You want to pay attention to, staying away from. You know what I'm saying? So, again, um, we'll see what happens. If we can form structure here and hold structure here, that's a different story. But we're seeing a lot of this energy. I don't know any other X coins, but not right now off the top of my head. Dogecoin though, it's recently had some moves. And that was at the beginning of May though. Marco Raleigh, really took that away, made it Memorial Day sale. But yeah, man, I'm watching XRP to follow XLM. That's just, like, just what I'm doing. I just think some money's about to be made off of that, for sure. We are literally right back at $1.37 right now, watching this pump as we're in class, back up to the 2-hour 322 EMA. Like, you can't make this up, bro. Like, I do this for real. I often find myself asking myself, like, did you really do this? It's just you, it's like nobody helped you out, man. You just built all this thesis and this whole plethora and grandiose, just giant thesis that continues to just bam, 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 boom, bam, bang. I'm just saying, like, sometimes I ask myself, did I do this? And I did it. So I'm proud of that. But I mean, Plato's bro, man. Shout out to Plato's bro, man. Causing XRP to just go ham. As we were talking about it, he come into class, he was late or something. I don't know. He didn't catch the first part of XRP when we was talking about it compared to XLM. And he's like, he asked the question, and I was like, yeah, man, this is what I think. 5 seconds later, he's like, ching, he hit the buy button. Look at it. Look what Plato's bro did. You know what I'm saying? I mean, done bought XRP up. Let's go, man. Shout out. If Modern Sword was here, he'd be jumping in with you, Plato's bro. And if he would buy and hit the buy candle, y'all know Modern Sword would make that thing go like, I'll behave. But I only say that because we have recorded streams in the past, just messing around trading before we look at coins and stuff, and we buy cryptos, and while we're trading and stuff, we've seen Modern jump in on cryptos and knock the volatility out the roof. I'm telling y'all, it's like, how much capital you playing with, bro? But no, it was perfect, man. It was beautiful. You just had to have been there. You don't want me to be nothing. You don't want to open doors for me. You did a little something, but you could have did a little more for me. No wonder why your father turned his back on you, unfortunately. No wonder why your niggas set them traps on you, the sorcery. You ain't nothing but a phony. You a liar. You a snake, and you can rap, but you ain't Kendrick. You ain't Cole. You ain't Drake. Can't believe. Oh yeah, Fair and Green Index still again back in extreme fear. We made it back into fear, out of extreme fear for a little bit. But haven't really been able to get to above neutral. We made it back to neutral. So, but we made it all the way back to extreme fear again. So, just more of that Mayday Mayhem energy, I feel. That's just my opinion. But we'll see if we can't get back into the neutral and maybe greed for the first time in 7-8 months. You know what I'm saying? Imagine that, if it's almost a year before we see greed again. I think June, July, is it's getting time for that greed to start coming back, right? That summertime. But we'll have to wait and see. Just a few more days till the blue moon's over and done with, and the volatility that it's going to bring is either going to send us lower in the charts or it's going to send us higher. We know this. It's going to confirm the lows are in, or it's going to set the lows. Okay, we're not dumb. It's okay. Anyway, on to the next. So 72 hours, man. Where are we at come Tuesday night? God forbid. Long week at work today. This week. Sorry, you guys. I said today, but today was a long day. I didn't get home till almost 6 o'clock. But long week at work. So I missed Tuesday night's class this week. I wasn't able to hold it Wednesday either because we worked late Wednesday as well, and every day this week. And I will see what Tuesday holds in the store for us for class. But I plan to be here. Hopefully you will all be here, and we can see what the blue moon gave us, right? That once in a blue moon. I made a pretty emotional post, heartfelt post about that. Just type in once in a blue moon in the Discord, and it should bring the post right up that I made at the beginning of this month, around that May 4th time period, when I was speaking around hitting that 83K, before we saw that 83K in Bitcoin price action this month. And so I was already seeing it coming in, and I didn't know if Memorial Day, that sell-off Mayday vibe, where it was going to take us this year. So I wanted to make sure I at least got us here. You know what I'm saying? And I knew that this blue moon vibe and energy at the end of the month would take us into June and July lows or June and July highs, and so now it's set back, relax, and make a cocktail like War Machine said, and just enjoy the weekend. I'm working all weekend, y'all know that. 6th, 7th day this week at one job and doubled at the other, and so we'll see how it goes. But we're gonna relax, spend some time with our son, and just see what happens with the volatility in the charts, because I expect it to be explosive. Again, we're right here, what I believe is in the middle of a pressure point in the season, in astrology, in the year itself, with the calendar they give us. And so a lot of stars are aligning for me in how I view my thesis. And so I'm eager. Maybe I want to hurry up and go to bed, or whatever, the next few days. So Monday we'll hurry up and get here, and we'll see what that gives us, because again, let's pay attention to the number of the weeks we are in. But obviously we're in the 22nd week of the year, and so we're in that reset, that recycle, that change week of the calendar, right? So I'll be paying attention to the next few days. Like I said, the blue moon ending the 22nd week of the year and starting the 23rd, heading into D-Day. So pretty explosive for me. Pretty unique, I guess, when you're really viewing it from 1,000-foot overview, right? Things like this. I know this is all zoomed in to a lot of the recent work, but when we zoom out and we look at this moment, and we look at what it took to get here, like I said, it's just, I'm glad I took a vacation this month. I'm glad I rested some, because we're either going to continue to stay very boring moving forward, or I think it gets very volatile and quick. Come June 1st, right? First week of June, I should say. But all right, you guys, I gotta do it, man. I gotta get ready to wind this one down. Struggling, tired. Check out the chat. Oh, 33 on the Fear and Greed Index. You drunk? Am I drunk? I hear that. Oh, always, you guys. Yeah, I'm not stalling nothing out. I think it's, XLM could just be getting started, especially if it's finally that. Excuse me. See, I'm telling you, I'm struggling. Especially if it's finally that move to, that $1.34 range that I've been seeing. Yeah, I think there was a 1.618 there, golden ratio. Still got a little bit more ways to go then, if that's the case, if that's what we're seeing. But then it will be drunk and stalling out more than likely. So, but it looks like it's finally just breaking this fallen wedge that it's in. So, or has been in for what feels like forever, right? So, we'll give it a little bit more time to see what happens. But alright, I'm signing out, you guys. I love y'all. Y'all take care. Have a blessed weekend. Y'all know I'm gonna be doing a thing behind the scenes, mad scientist style, and dropping y'all the news. But yeah. He said, nah, War Machine. It's like, nah, I ain't drunk, I'm tired. Alright, much love.